and Meadow is actually a female red kangaroo. And red kangaroos, they are the largest kangaroo in the entire world. Since Meadow is a girl, she's actually only going to grow up to be about 4 to 5 feet tall, and she'll weigh about 100 to 150 pounds. The male kangaroos, they actually get bigger, right? They get bigger than me. They grow up to be 6 feet tall, and they'll weigh 200 pounds of solid muscle. So they get really large. And our kangaroos, they are actually full grown at 2 years old, all right? So Meadow, she's maybe about 10 or so months old. These guys will be drinking their mom's milk until they're a year old, so she's still got a couple more months drinking this milk. It is one of her favorite things. She usually gets about a bottle a day right now. As she's getting older, it'll be less and less, but as we can see how quickly she's going to be drinking this, it's still her favorite thing. She is an herbivore, so throughout the day she is eating solid food. She eats all different timothy hay. She likes her kangaroo food for kangaroos in captivity as well. Usually kangaroos are done with their mom's pouch at about 8 months old. So since she's 10 months, she would technically be done with this pouch. But kangaroos in captivity, they're a little spoiled. We make the size of these pouches so they usually get 24/7, except for he's a little silly. When we go to our programs, he wants to get out of the pouch. So he's a little bit opposite of Meadow here. Yep, this is one we'll get a chance to pet, but we'll pet at the very, very end, okay? Now, Meadow here, even though she's a red kangaroo, does she look very red? No, all right, and you know what? She's never going to turn all red. Female kangaroos actually stay more gray, and then they just have these kind of red little highlights. So she's got a little red poking in on the backs of her ears, on her elbows, parts of her back and belly have a little bit of red highlights, and that's as red as she's ever going to be. So it's really easy to tell the difference between males and females because for one, their size is going to be different, their coloration is different, and then the fact that the girl kangaroos are the only ones with pouches, which she does have a little pouch here already, so it's pretty easy to tell them apart. You guys see these big old ears she's got? So those are used for excellent hearing, and she actually has something called independent hearing. So she can move each ear individually. So one ear can face forward, one ear can face backwards. So she doesn't have to move her head around if she doesn't want to. She can just move her ears to listen. But the main reason why her ears are so large is because they are actually her air conditioning, all right? Because down in Australia, it's pretty warm year-round. So those ears are actually what keeps her cool during the hottest part of the day. So if she was outside in this heat right now, those ears would be something that she uses to keep herself cool. Because what happens is they're so large, but they're really thin, and they're full of what we call blood vessels. So when she gets hot, those blood vessels, they're going to expand and get larger. A breeze will come by that blows cool air onto those blood vessels, which is cooling off her blood, which is going to cool her off. She can also cool herself off kind of the same way. If you guys see a kangaroo and she's licking her wrist and she's got really she's kind of cooling off her blood that way. And how many of you guys knew that kangaroos are actually amazing swimmers? Did anyone know that? No? So if these guys are next to a body of water, they can always go for a little swim to cool off as well. All right. Now, kangaroos will be able to jump their height plus an extra 2 feet. So if she makes it up to 5 feet tall, she'll be able to jump 5 to 7 feet up in the air, and then she can jump a distance of about 20 to 25 feet. So these guys cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time, and they'll hop about 40 miles an hour. One of the reasons why these guys grow so quickly, remember they're full grown at 2 years old, is because their lifespan is usually only about 15 to 30 years. So they don't live as long as we do, so that's why they have to kind of get full grown a lot sooner. But something about how fast they grow, does anyone know how big they are when they're first born? You're close. How big are they? Smaller than that.
Like this?
Smaller? What do you think? Smaller? What would you? A little bit smaller. They're this big. All right. Kangaroos are only about this big when they're first born, all right? So they're born about the size of a grape, or we say jelly bean as well. And that is because kangaroos are born what we call premature. They're born at only 7 weeks old. So that means that they don't have their eyes fully developed, they don't have their legs developed, they don't have their ears. They look like these really weird pink alien jelly beans, all right? So they go into their mom's pouch, and that's where they continue to grow and develop. And the difference between us mammals and our marsupials, which is what our kangaroos are, it's not that marsupials have a pouch, because not all marsupials do have those pouches. It's the fact that all marsupials are born premature. So they're all born that teeny tiny size, and then they'll develop outside the body, all right? Now, Meadow here, she is our last friend. I did say we will get a chance to pet her, but before I walk around and have everyone get a chance to pet her, are there any